Welcome to Top 10 in 10, the official podcast of Site Midwest, where we ask 10 questions in just 10 minutes to the brightest minds in the incentive travel industry. From emerging trends and expert strategies to bold ideas that move the industry forward, we're covering it all, one guest at a time. Fast, insightful, and always relevant. This is Top 10 in 10. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Johanna Chassie, and I am the Director of Education for Site Midwest, and super excited to have Katie Center here. She is also on the site board and works for BCD Meetings and Events. I work for Meetings and Incentives Worldwide. And today we are going to be chatting about transferable skills in the incentive industry. So the reason I brought Katie here, a dear friend and colleague, is because she came to the incentive industry from the education industry, which is just an amazing transfer. And she brings such a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of skill sets to the industry. And I am just so excited to have her here today. Welcome, Katie. Happy to have you here. And I'm so excited for you to share all of your experiences with us. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's so exciting to be here. This is such a fun topic to talk about. Like Johanna said, my name is Katie Center. I work at BCD Meetings and Events. I sit on our Global Supplier Relations team, and I'm based in Madison, Wisconsin.
Wonderful, wonderful. Love Wisconsin. Just beautiful weather up there. So just a beautiful part of our country. Well, Katie, I just would love to learn a little bit more about what your major was in college and why did you choose that major?
Well, funny enough, my major was actually music education, so very different than anything in the
Wow.
industry. Yes, I really loved music. I was really passionate about it, and teaching and music felt like such a natural and normal fit for me when I was starting that journey, leaving home, going to college. And it was a really fun major to have. I had a blast.
That's fantastic. What instrument did you play?
So my main instrument was the flute, but throughout college and then in my teaching career, I picked up many other instruments. I played the bass guitar in a band for a little while. I played the saxophone in jazz band. I played the piano some, and it was a blast.
Cool. It's so funny you say those instruments because my daughter played the flute, my son played
Oh,
the
that's so cool.
saxophone, and I played the piano. So that is so funny. And both of my children were in the band. So I
Aw.
marvel at the skill set that you have in the music. The one thing I've learned a lot about music is the logical sense that goes into it and the mathematical computations that go behind. That is such a transferable skill when you have that music mindset. So that's really, really amazing. How long did you work in your chosen field in the music education industry after you graduated?
I was a teacher for about 5 years. I taught middle school band, and really enjoyed it. I got a little bit involved with some high school marching band early on. Did a little bit of elementary ed as well, but my bulk of the time was a middle school teacher, which is it was fun. The kids are so crazy at that age. They have such big personalities, and to get to kind of share this early discovery of music with them was really special.
Oh, that certainly is special. Wow. And the other thing about music education too is I think kids really just they hook onto their music education teachers because
Yeah.
it's an outlet for them. So I'm sure you were leaving such a heavy impact on their lives. That is really wonderful. Super. Were you involved in student activities or student government while attending college?
Yes. So being a music major, I was involved in a lot of different music groups. So a lot of different ensembles, big ensembles, small kind of duets or chamber groups. So always playing something. I was also a part of a student-led public relations team. So that team was tasked with kind of going out in our region and helping with like recruiting and being kind of an ambassador for our school.
Okay.
The college that I went to is based in Kansas City, so there was a lot of opportunities to volunteer and kind of do some service to the community. And I also had the amazing opportunity to do some travel, both through my music program. So I got to spend a month touring with a jazz band in Germany, which was like life-changing. It was amazing. I spent a summer in Ecuador serving a community there, and then I also spent some time in Haiti. So I got bit by the travel bug in college, and just any opportunity that came my way to either do something musical or travel, I just jumped right on.
And you know, what's so interesting about that is not only did you actually get to go to those destinations, but you were actually immersed in it just because of the
Yes,
amount of time that you were there.
yes.
So, just learning the culture and about the people and just everything in those environments, which is really, really neat for you, especially in the career that you're in now.
Absolutely. And being so young, you're 18, 19, 20 when I got to have those experiences. And so it was really formative at a young age. First of all, of, how to respectfully travel in another country and focus on that immersion and that local culture and really leaning into that. But then also just opening my mind to the worldview and viewing the global community a certain way. So I'm so fortunate. It was such an amazing thing to experience in college.
Oh, that's so amazing. And Katie, I mean, with all that experience in music education and being able to travel as part of being a music, in that music degree, and then probably down the line, I mean, I know a lot of bands, marching bands that do travel around the world. What made you decide to switch to the incentive industry of all industries, after a few years in education?
Yeah, it was a tough choice. Education's it's a really tough career path. I found myself thinking kind of later in my 20s, I am way too young to be this burnt out. I honestly I got so burnt out. It's teaching pulls you in a lot of different ways. You wear a lot of different hats. And it just, for me personally, it became kind of unsustainable. And I just thought, I don't want to be this stressed. I don't want to be this burnt out, this young and this early in my career. So I left teaching, and I was really fortunate enough that I had the flexibility to do that and to then explore other opportunities, to say yes or no and kind of give myself the space to find the right fit, the right career path. And what drew me to BCD and this industry was that global reach, the opportunity to kind of help create experiences for people, curate human connections around the world, kind of like how I have experienced. And the job and the industry has checked all the boxes, and I've definitely found the right career path and the right job for me. And I'm really excited.
That is so wonderful. And isn't that true about the incentive industry is part of what we do is we really want to create those memorable wow experiences for all of our attendees to go to destinations that they might not have ever even thought of going to, or even if they've gone to those destinations, experiencing things they never have thought that they might have been able to do. So just that energy that you bring to the industry is just so amazing, and that cultural immersion experience is just really, really outstanding. So that is wonderful, Katie. I'm just so
Thank you.
excited to hear your
Oh, thank
story.
you.
Um, in terms of that cultural immersion, we've talked a little bit about that. Are there some other skills that you feel really had an impact in your early days as an educator, or even as just when you were in college, that really you feel were transferable into your current role at BCD, right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a great question because I think when you get ready to leave a career that you've worked really hard at, you've gotten a degree in, and you look to make the change, this can be a really scary question to answer for yourself. And
Right.
and so this is a great topic. I love this. I think adaptability was really important in the classroom and is really important in this industry. You need to be really adaptable, wearing many hats, being able to be a team player. We don't do any of this alone. The whole purpose of our industry is bringing people together, right? And so you're doing it as a team. So that's knowing how to be a team player and jump in and help each other is really important, I think. One of the things that I think about sometimes is when I was a teacher, my clients were my students and their parents. And parents, when it comes to their kid, they're really, really passionate, and that can sometimes create some different challenges with different personalities. And I think we face that as well in this industry with our clients. They get really passionate about these programs that they're going on. They're passionate about their employees that they're trying to provide this, experience for. And so knowing how to navigate all those different personalities and the challenges, that has been a really big transferable skill for me. Problem solving, right? We're always solving problems, both in the classroom and then in travel and in event planning. And then I think, in the classroom, it was really important that I viewed my classroom with an open mind. There were so many different students with different learning styles, with different personalities. And so being able to approach this classroom with kind of that open mind of pivot quickly, teaching concepts in different ways, being able to approach a challenge from three different ways is, I think, again, really important for what we do in our work here in this industry. And then the last one that I think has served me well just in my life is being a lifelong learner. That's something that they teach you in school when you go to be an educator. It's something I picked up early, and I think it served me well. Just being really hungry for knowledge, having an open mind, being open to growth and opportunities, I think is something that we all can strive to have to help us in our careers and in our life, because knowledge is so important. And when we go to approach new countries, new cultures, new people, just approaching it from an open mindset of I'm here to learn what you have to teach me in from your culture, is also something that is, I think, important for all of us.
Isn't that the truth? I love the idea of just being a lifelong learner. I mean, all those skills are so incredibly valuable that you mentioned, but I would definitely agree with you. At the height of that is just being a
Mhm.
lifelong learner because we do go out to all these different countries and into these communities, and it's so important to learn everything we can about them because it is our responsibility in the industry to be bringing these groups here. And we have to know, right? We are the sponges that have to take as much in so we can bring it back to the clients and the attendees so they can get the very, very best experience possible. So I love that. I love that. Absolutely. Oh, excuse me. Absolutely wonderful. You got me choked up there. That was just amazing. Well, based with all that information, I mean, you're coming to this industry with just just an outstanding background. How do you feel that Site Global as an organization can offer more programs related to individuals like yourself?
I think one of the best things I've done since joining the industry is joining Site. I'll just do that plug right there. But
Great.
it's really, it's provided a lot of opportunities for networking and meeting a lot of different people. And then the education portion of Site, I think, has been so valuable to me. So programming around just various facets of the industry. I think this industry moves really fast. The world around us is moving really fast. And so having resources and programming, webinars, certifications, all backed by the data and the industry insights that they collect is important, not only for, I think, people who are joining the industry, but then as we continue to try to keep up with the world and try to keep on top of everything, bringing in a kind of a cohesive way to inform all of us, is really important.
Exactly, exactly. And, being that education for me is a big piece of what I do on site, right? And it's a big piece of who I am. Believe it or not, Katie, I have a degree in education and I entered this field as an educator. So
That
I,
is
I,
awesome.
isn't that funny? I mean, I worked in the higher education sector. I didn't work in an elementary sector, but I still did come from education, and that's where I have to really agree with you on all components, but also that education, that lifelong learning, and again, plugging for site, all of those everything that they offer, all those webinars, all those certifications. I mean, they're out there, and I just encourage everyone to just dive in and learn as much as they can, especially if you're coming from another career path, because site is really they have a path laid out, and it really they really give everything you need to know about this industry. So that's awesome, Katie. That is so awesome. Well, I guess I just have two more questions for you. I guess one piece of advice that you would give to anybody, not it doesn't have to necessarily be about site or anything like that, just about making that career transition to the incentive industry. And I would love to hear three words that you feel describe the incentive industry, because I think everybody describes it differently.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so my advice would be to just dive right in. Honestly, volunteer, get involved, and do the things that scare you. I think all the things that have scared me or been things that have been outside my comfort zone are where I've had the best opportunities, the best growth, the best experiences. I've met the best people. So don't be afraid. I mean, having a little bit of fear, I think, is good, and just then be courageous and just do the things that scare you. I think also don't be afraid to get in the nitty gritty and do those less glamorous tasks and be willing to just take anything that's handed to you is an opportunity. So you might not be starting where you want to start, or it might not be, the role or the position or wherever you may be. Maybe you're not necessarily where you want to be, but to get to where you want to go, you've got to just take everything that's handed to you, do it well, do it, with a positive attitude, and view it all as just an opportunity to learn something, to grow, to make yourself better. And so I would say, just yeah, don't be afraid and just get in there. Get your hands dirty and just dive right in. My three words, so this was hard because I really thought of so many different words when I was trying to narrow it down to three. But I would say diverse, experiential, and invigorating. Those are my words.
Those are great words. I love those. Oh my gosh, those are fabulous. All right. Well, Katie, thank you so much for everything that you provided to us today. Your words of wisdom are amazing. And I have truly loved having you here. And I was thinking of what we could have all learned from this 10 and 10 today on this podcast. And I'm going to take Katie's words, and that's dive right in. She said it loud and clear, and I think that's perfect. So everybody out there who's listening, just dive right in and take the incentive industry strong and love every minute of it. Thank you, Katie.
Thanks for having me.